Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. Today we're going to be drawing a cartoon strip. Now I know I've done more than my fair share of cartoon strips. A lot of cartoons about other people's cartoon strips, but this is one of mine. And the reason why I'm doing this one particularly is because I draw it with a northern accent. That sounds a bit odd in itself, but let me explain. I produced this cartoon strip for a magazine called The Dalesman, which is produced in the north of England and covers the whole of the Yorkshire Dales. And they asked me to produce a northern-centric cartoon strip, shall we say. And they didn't want Andy Cap, which would have been a classic one. They wanted one of their own. So I produced a cartoon strip called Old Wives' Tales. And it literally is about these two women, neighbours, chatting over the garden fence about their husbands, who are not really held up in a very positive light. So that's the idea of it. But when I wrote it, I thought, why not give it a stereotypical northern accent? You know, well, that speaks a little bit like that, and they took this and took that and took t'other, and things like that. I mean, obviously they don't speak completely like that, but in a caricatured way, yes, they do. So that's what I decided to do. So I thought, well, okay, I'm about to draw the cartoon. So when I film it, offer it up as an example of a cartoon, another example of a cartoon strip. I guess you can't get too many of them. And yeah, and we'll talk about it. So yeah, that's this week's video. So shall we go and draw a cartoon in a northern accent? I think we should. Right, here we go. This is it, it's the Old Wives' Tales. Now, I know that I said in the introduction it's generally about the two ladies who were next door neighbours, and they talk largely about their husbands, or the wastrels that are their husbands. And I've chosen one cartoon strip where the neighbour's not in it. I think this is probably the only one I've ever drawn where the neighbour's not in it. But for those of you who would be interested in knowing what she looks like, then she'll be up around the screen somewhere, or rather a normal strip that involves them will be there. This particular one, I just needed the husband and wife. Now, she always refers to her husband as my Ted or our Ted. He never speaks. She has her go at him, shall we say, but he never gets any kind of redress or recourse to sort of fight back, shall we say. But yeah, so it's I guess you say it's another marital strip. There's loads of them because they're just very popular, and obviously everyone's got relationships in common. Most people either are in a relationship, been in a relationship, or maybe they know people who argue a lot, don't get on so well. And that would be these two. So this particular cartoon strip, or this particular version of Old Wives' Tales, is quite a departure for them, because there's normally quite a lot of there's not a lot of background stuff going on. But yeah, there's a fence, there's a bit of the house, there might be some dustbins there, there might be there's all sorts of things. This particular thing, I wanted it to be quite sparse because the joke's effect is in, you just need it to be them too. It's more effective if there's nothing going around, nothing to detract you. I think I've mentioned in a previous comic strip, you should never have anything in there that isn't essential. It's not relevant to the cartoon, or relevant to maybe something that's going to happen in a few panels' time. I've never drawn Ted without his hat on, his little cap on, because that's another very stereotypical northern thing. I like to wear their flat caps. They probably don't anymore, but they used to. They were quite well known for it. flat cap was a very northern thing. Also, it's also worth noting or pointing out that followers of me when I was on Facebook, people who followed me on Facebook, and who also follow me here on YouTube, will know that I did a cartoon strip for, I don't know how many years it was, a couple of years. I did it 3 times a week, and I produced over 500 or so. I think I produced over 600 comic strips anyway. Before, due to personal reasons, I sort of stopped doing it, and that was called Adam and Eve, which was just, well, it was Adam and Eve, the Adam and Eve of the biblical story, married. And it was like what happened after the rib incident, shall we say? And theirs was a marriage of inconvenience. What happens? You're the only 2 people on the earth, and you can't stand aside of each other. So that's what the comic strip was about. And it was very popular. People actually really enjoyed it. And I may bring it back. There is a playlist, actually, of the Adam and Eve cartoons in my playlist section. So you might want to pop along and have a look at that. But the humour was similar, shall we say, to this, husband and wife. And the drawings are not dissimilar to each other. You see the wife here in this cartoon, and you go to see Eve, you're just literally removing her clothes and putting a couple of fig leaves on, and you're not far off it. I would say that she is a little harsher than Eve from the cartoon strip, but there you go. You're gonna, when you have a style, when you build up your cartoon technique, you've worked on it, you started off learning to draw cartoons from other cartoonists, and you understandably wind up copying them to start with, or imitating the bits of their style that you like, and over a period of time you wind up with your own style. But when you get that style, you are gonna draw all your characters. They're going to look recognisable, so they're quite simple and straightforward. I'm not making much sense here. Okay, right, let's start again. You wind up with your own style. You end up drawing cartoons in a shorthand, like mine are head, body, pretty much the same, legs. That's it. That's pretty much my cartoon. They're all drawn that way. So when I do a woman of a certain age, she's going to be looking like this. I'll just check this. That's right, yeah. She's going to look pretty much like this. So when I drew Eve, she looked like this. When I draw this lady, she looks like this. So, but anyway, go along and have a look. I also have 2 book collections of Adam and Eve cartoon strips. There's not too sure I'm going to put the 3rd one out, or whether I'm just going to put a retrospective of all of them. Put like 600 cartoon strips in one book. What do you reckon? What do you reckon I should do? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below what you think I should do. A book with 600 cartoon strips, or just another book collection you can buy all 3 separately. But with the retrospective, I would obviously be doing extra bits on it. Stories about its inception, the way that when the cartoon strip first started, one of the characters in the early cartoon strips was actually God. But when I decided that I didn't want this cartoon strip, the Adam and Eve cartoon strip, to be anything about religion, just wanted it to be a husband and wife cartoon strip, just happened to be set at the beginning of time. Just do this. Poing! I love that sound. Poing! I love it. Yeah, I decided no religion. So of course the character of God had to go. So I must be the only cartoonist in the world that fired God. Ha! Yes. Right, with this cartoon strip, because we're almost done, it's not going to be a very long tutorial, obviously. Yeah, with this cartoon strip, I'm going to be leaving this middle panel open now. I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again because it is the nuts and bolts of cartoon strips. This middle panel, I wanted to be the point that had to be made. So I opened the panel up. So it's a psychological thing. Your mind sees it opened, it pays a bit more attention to it. Right, let's she's saving that one. Smaller balloon for that. We have that, and then the final panel, the payoff. She's going to have here. These two, her heads sort of lean back like she's leaning into the conversation. But this one, she's not happy at what she's seeing. So we'll change her expression inside. Her back will be very straight. Her front still this tent effect here, but her back will be very straight. There we go. A dress. I see lots of women like this. The sort of heavier set women, shall we say. They always used to wear these big floral dresses. And because she's slightly annoyed, clenched teeth. Yeah, I may actually put an advertisement for. I haven't done an advertisement for a while, and they do work because I noticed that my book sales tend to go up every time I do one. So I will put an advertisement out there for the two Alimony books that are actually published now, available now from Amazon. I'll put those up there. And then you let me know in the comments below whether you'd like to see me do a book which involves all of the 600, I think 600 cartoon strips, and any sort of extras, behind the scenes stuff, the cartoons that you didn't see in the original comic strip. One second, just get this right. There we go. Right, I think we're getting it now. So this is, hope you're enjoying the New Year's worth of cartoons. At the moment, at the time of me drawing this, it's still January. I just literally decided at the start of the year that I was going to have a new approach to the YouTube channel, and that was no, I'll take those out. I don't like them. I was going to produce, say, 4 at a time. Just produce 4. So I'd get myself 2 months. I'd say about 2 months ahead of myself, because I've got other stuff coming up, and I don't like having produced the cartoons at the last minute. So if I get a chance to do all 4, then I can think about them. I can concentrate that whole week or just over a week on them, and give them the time that I think they deserve. Now he's rushing back now, so we'll have his hat slightly sort of wobbling, and he's like, doing, that sort of business. So a few shake lines around, and we'll bring his jacket out here as well, a little bit. So a lot of the stuff, because he has like crisscross lines up there, but that's done in Photoshop. Also, I'm seriously considering giving into the urge and getting myself one of these tablets, not a iPad, but I think it's a Samsung G5, is it? I don't know. It's actually bigger than the iPad. I'm thinking, right, let's learn to draw with that, and I'll also learn to. So basically, I can do it in both. Single panel's a lot quicker. If I'm doing book illustrations, a lot quicker. Still do YouTube channels drawing by hand, but I could perhaps mix it up because a lot of people out there do still, if they only really know how to draw with the tablets or the computerized drawing boards, sorry. So a whole lot of people are being left out. So let me know what you think about that as well. Maybe there could be a part of the YouTube channel where we document my journey, so I'm learning. And obviously I know how to draw cartoons, that's not the issue, but you know, I'm learning how to use technology that I've never ever had to use before. I'm done with it. There it is. And this is now an even smaller panel. So you've got even that 1, 2, 3. It's diminishing. Everything's diminishing, and even little things like that. Even little things about the way that the balloons are placed, where they're placed, the characters' placement within the cartoon strip, their pose, their attitude. You look at a cartoon strip and you think, random selection of pictures with a punchline on the end. But if it's done properly or with care, or with love, then it's more to it. Study your cartoon strips. You'd be surprised what's in there. Okay, so we are done. This one. Oh, sorry about that. Every video so far, right towards the end, I've got a kind of a tickle. It's almost like my mind's creating this for me. Gotta stop that. Right, anyway, so there we go. I'm going to, rather than just sit here and tap my finger on the drawing board, shall we say, I'm going to put the borders around here and do the balloons whilst I chat. So, hope you enjoyed the video and you want to keep coming back for more. If you do, then obviously please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Click on the all one, and yeah, let everyone know what's happening over here. Need the channel to grow. It's getting quite nice. Every day now, there's at least a few people signing up for it. So we'll keep going that way if we can. Try and keep it as fresh. Anything you'd like to see me try or do or draw, or any techniques that you'd like to see or learn, put them in the comments section below. Let me know what you want. You know, this is our channel. I want it to grow for us. I want you to want to come back here because I'm doing stuff that's actually relevant to what you want to know. And I don't know whether most of my followers, viewers, are going to be people who want to learn to draw cartoons, or whether they're people who are already cartoonists who just want to see someone else do it or see their techniques, or whether it's a mix of it all. I don't know. Let me know. Just let me know. And we'll build the channel that we all like, we all want. Right, so I guess that's all that's left for me to do. Shall I start that one again? That got a little bit messy towards the end. So I guess that's all that's left for me to do now, is to thank you for your very valuable time, the time that you've taken out of your life and chosen to spend it with me. I do appreciate it. I genuinely do. Yeah, so there'll be a little advert coming up now. And if you like the book, then please pop along and purchase it. It's a good way of supporting me. There's so many YouTubers out there now. You can no longer rely on YouTube giving you any kind of income. So you have to use it as a kind of a springboard now. Okay, that's a first. You've never seen me do the borders. You may find that exciting. You may not. I don't know. Right, there we go. That's that. So we're going to have a bit of an advert, then into the usual speeded up stuff with the finished cartoon at the very end. Thank you once again for your time, and I hope to see you in a fortnight when we will most definitely be doing something else. But until then, have a lovely time, and bye-bye for now. Hello, and now this is the sponsored bit. This is where I tell you about stuff that I produce and then you immediately rush out and purchase because you love what it is that I do and you like supporting a starving artist. And good for you, and why shouldn't you? Right, this is about a cartoon strip I produced when I was on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. No longer there, so I no longer produce it, but that doesn't mean I won't start up again at some point in the future. The cartoon strip was called Adam and Eve, and it followed the marital misadventures, shall we say, of those two iconic characters. The snake was also in it, and the snake was there as a kind of a, I mean, some would say a philosophical side to it, others would say he was a kind of a referee. There were a few more characters. There was the yappy dog, who, for a lot of fans, was possibly the most popular character there. He never spoke, he just yip, yip, yap, yap, yap. He was a little yappy dog. I don't like yappy dogs. I love dogs, but don't like yappy ones. And so that's part of me being brought out in that part of the strip. Adam, as I said, despised the dog, absolutely hated it, would just want anything to do with this. Eve loved the dog. Eve would do anything for the dog, and the dog would be fine with her, but yet it was Adam the dog would follow around, as is usually the way. They always seem to go for the ones where it's a bit harder, you know, the relationship's a bit tougher. So that was a good dynamic going on in there. Then there was a bear who was a very sarcastic character, but he was Adam's friend, shall we say, one of his best friends and drinking buddy. And then finally, the rest of the cast was made up by a wise owl who, any questions they wanted answered, they go to seek his advice. And he was called Google. Hey, see if I don't get sued for that one. But although I did roughly around about 600 cartoon strips, of which some will have been coming around the screen, I did 2 books. Not all of the cartoons in 2 books. I did a selection of cartoons and put them into 2 books. And those 2 books were, the first one, Forcing the Rhubarb, and then followed by the second one, which was The Rock of Zen. The Rock of Zen was where the snake used to stand up on rock and quote Zen, actual Zen quotes. And then Adam, Eve, or the bear would come up with some little one-liner at the end. Classic comic strip fodder. So if you like your comic strips and you like my stuff, and you, more importantly, would like to support me and this channel, then an absolutely excellent way of doing that is to go and purchase the Adam and Eve books. You can do this by going to my authors page, which there will be a link for in the description below, going on there, finding the book and clicking on it and doing all the other stuff. It isn't on Kindle yet. It is only physical copy only. But like I say, by doing that, you support me, you support this channel, and you enable me to continue doing this. And also, if you want to see more of Adam and Eve, if you'd like me to produce it as an extra to the usual videos you get, so once a week I produce a cartoon strip, and it's just for us on YouTube, then let me know. Let me know in the comments below. But before you do that, go and support me. Let everyone know about it as well. So thanks very much for your time. If you've enjoyed it, great. If you go and purchase it, fantastic. Right, let's get back on with the inking, shall we? Let's do that.